the EM gauge steam crane. Sorry for this being handheld. This is the EM gauge steam crane. It's a 6mm gear motor with an output speed of about 54 RPM. It's a teeny motor, but it should actually be sufficient. And as you've already seen, the second axle is driven by opposed bevel gears, and that works fine. And power for that will come up through the centre, and how we do that is through a little slip ring, and this slip ring, it's a 4-way, and it's a nominal 8mm outside diameter on that, and that will go nose down through that hole. And I'll only use 2 ways of this, but I'll leave the other 2 ways relatively intact just in case I have a failure. This is the deck. It's got a bearing in there, so it spins around nice and freely, but there's no excess movement at all. It's all silver soldered construction. Anything else will get soft soldered and it won't come undone. The steps in particular, of course, are silver soldered, and that makes them a lot stronger. The axle boxes, they're a little bit less detailed now they're painted, of course. They're resin prints, and of course resin prints are notoriously hard to see the detail, but each leaf is printed, and there are hex bolts holding them. Those are printed this morning. They've come out quite nicely. So that's that, and we have resin printed drums for the cable, and those drums will sit on these N20 gear motors, and those are going to sit in there like that, kind of one on top of another, each other, and that takes up the full height of the cabin, square and a bit neater, obviously. And then there'll be another N20 gear motor of a conventional type going down vertically with a spur gear on, which will engage with the slew ring, which you can just maybe see. You can just see the teeth of the slew ring there. And I can't find that gear for the time being, but there's a gear. There will be a gear on the underside of the N20 poking down through that, and that'll enable the thing to spin round and round and round. And of course it will spin round and round and round because the slip ring enables it to do so. And then there'll be a little bit more lead weight at the back of that, just to compensate for the jib. And all in all, that should work quite well. And the receiver's got to find a home in there too, of course. Using that as a charging socket, and that is going to fit in there quite cosily, and we'll charge from the underside. And we have, that is the on-off switch, and there's a little slot for it just there, so you can pick it with a fingernail from the underside. So it's coming on. Effectively, the difficult things have been done. So I'm quite pleased with that. Opposed bevel gears is quite a nice way of driving wheels like that. If you've got room to make it work, it's fairly harmless, particularly good for slow speed work like this, or a little shunter, something like that. So the EM gauge crane, it's on its way gently. Oh, and I got a 700 milliamp hour battery on its way. Now 700 milliamp hour, I expect it to do a day's exhibition work at that, which is pretty good.